Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It's Jerry here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Ballin' with Jerry. Yeah, that's right, Ballin' with Jerry. Right now, I'm outside in this beautiful neighborhood of mine. Yeah, this is a very, very beautiful upscale neighborhood that I'm living in right now. And what I have for you guys today on this episode of Ballin' with Jerry is that I decided it was time for me to reveal the biggest purchase that I've made so far in my life. Yeah, the biggest purchase I've made so far in my life. And I'll give you a hint on what that big purchase is. Now, I'll give you a hint. It can take you from point A to point B. Yeah, and that is a car. That's a car. Now, the biggest purchase I made so far right now is my car right here. And this car is a 2001 Toyota Avalon VXI. Basically, this car is 2001 Toyota Avalon. I'm gonna talk to you guys more about this car in a moment. Okay, guys, now let's move on to my car. Now, like I said in this episode, I decided it was time for me to reveal my most prized possession, or AKA my largest purchase that I've ever made in my life so far as a man. Now this car that I have right here behind me is a 2001 Toyota Avalon VXI. So this car is a 2001 Toyota Avalon. And this car is almost 20 years old. And I bought this car a few months ago. Let's say at around summer in April. I bought this car a few months ago this year, and I thought when I bought this car for the very first time, I was very, very proud of myself for achieving this step in my life, achieving this milestone for buying my first car, which is the car that I have right now. And basically in this episode, I'm going to talk more to you about this car, my first car. Then I'm going to talk to you about the specs and basically my thought process, how I was able to afford this car, and how I was able to basically my whole thought process of how I got to buying this car, and also the cars that I had in mind prior to buying this car. Alright, so let's go. Okay, guys, now let's start off with the exterior features. Starting off with these wheels. Now, these wheels are 16-inch wheels, 16-inch alloy wheels, whatever you call these wheels. And I really love these wheels. This is one of the things that I really love about this car. It has very nice wheels. See how it's like swervy, like this. And imagine how cool it would look if you saw this car driving and the wheels spinning. And I'm not sure how to express this, but it's pretty cool to me. These wheels alone look really cool to me. And also, I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but this says V6 in like bronze and some gold plated, or some gold painted, I should say. This is a 6-cylinder engine, and it has 197 horsepower, so let's say 200 horsepower, which is Not the most powerful car in the world, because it's no supercar, it's no muscle car. This is a luxury car. It's not meant for performance or anything. It's built to take point A to point B, hassle-free, in style. In style, which is what I love about this car. It has 6-cylinder engine, V6. Alright, so looking under the hood of this car has a V6, a 6-cylinder engine. And like I said, it's not the most powerful car in the world. Like, it's no supercar, it's no muscle car, it's a luxury car. And this car does 197 horsepower, and it can accelerate from 0 to 60 in 8.9 seconds. So like I said, it's not a supercar, but looking under the hood of this car, or let's just say the bonnet, looks pretty decent in here. I like the way the engine looks. So that's another thing I like about this car. It has the engine, not covered in plastic, but it shows the engine in all of its glory, which is another thing that I like about this car. Okay guys, now let's move on to the rear. Moving on to the rear of this car. And this car is a sedan. It's a saloon car. And this car, like when I saw pictures of this car online, and this car doesn't, and the cars I saw online, this version doesn't have this rear spoiler. I looked online and I couldn't find anyone or any copy of these cars that had a spoiler on top of it. And I bought the car like this. I bought it like this. And but I do love the spoiler. That's another thing that I love about this car, is that it has a spoiler, a rear spoiler, to make the car look more sporty, more like a sports car, even though it may not be a real sports car, even though it may not have real sports car numbers. But at the end of the day, I really don't care if it sounds like a sports car or if it is a sports car. I still love this car regardless. Still like it. And yeah, so that's basically the rear end of this car. It's a pretty large car. And like I said, it's old. It has this antenna, this rear antenna, because this car is almost 20 years old. And it has this antenna. I'm not gonna mess with the antenna. I don't want to break it. But yeah, so that's what this car has going on. Sorry, that's what is going on the rear of this car. I really love the way this car looks. How so? And it has the rear spoiler at the end, which makes this car not only look sporty, but make this car look more unique. Because this car, I couldn't find any version of this car online that had a rear spoiler. Every single copy that I found of this car did not have a spoiler like this. And with this car having a rear spoiler, makes me feel more special, makes the car look and feel more special from all the other copies. So I don't think you're gonna find another one of these cars exactly that has a rear spoiler on it. Any of these specific cars that has a rear spoiler on it. So I'm not sure what else to say here, but that's what I gotta say back here. Oh yeah, one thing that I'll talk about this car back here before I move on to the inside is I show you the trunk space. So what I do is that I use this key, and there's a key on the right hand side of the car. I just put the key in. Then I just open the trunk. And that's how it opens. Now, in this car, you can also open the trunk from inside the car, from the passenger seat, in the glove compartment, which I'll show you guys later. But yeah, so this is how the trunk opens, which gives me a lot of, the trunk is quite large, and I'll show you how large the trunk space is in a minute. Oh, and I like to apologize for the junk that's in the trunk, but I gotta say, this looks like a decent amount of trunk space. Now, when I bought, but I'm gonna tell a story here. When I bought the car, it came with these on it, on the front doors. Now, the truth is, I didn't like them on the car doors, on the front car doors, so I decided to take them off. And the same deal with the steering wheel. It kind of looks like an eyesore to me on the steering wheel, so I decided to take this one off too. But in my opinion, judging from my perspective, this looks like a fairly large trunk for a car this big. A fairly large trunk for a car this big. Yeah. That's pretty good trunk space back here. You can fit a lot of people. Well, let's not say people, a lot of stuff. You can fit a lot of stuff in this trunk for sure. And again, I'd like to apologize for the junk that's in this trunk. Okay guys, so now that I showed you the trunk space, the trunk, especially the inside of the trunk, it's time to jump inside this car. Time to jump inside. Now let's go. Okay guys, now we're in my car. Now let me just take my glasses off. Alright, so we're inside my car, and I'll show you guys a quick look at the back seat. Then we have the sunroof up here. See that? Alright, so now that you're in my car, I'm going to tell you some stuff that I like about this car from the inside. Okay, so now we're inside of my car. Now let me tell you a few things I like about my car. Number one, the steering wheel. It has a leather steering wheel, which by today's standards may not sound that uncommon, but for this car in its time, I think it was a luxury back then in 2001. I'm not sure, but don't quote me on that, but I think the leather steering wheel feels nice and smooth to me, especially when I'm driving this car around. Now, you didn't hear the engine of this car. Now, this car is not the most powerful car in the world. I'm not saying that it is, but it's not the most powerful car in the world, but it's powerful enough. And take a listen to the ignition. It's a pretty decent start for a car like this.
even though the car is almost 20 years old, but that's how the ignition sounds. Now, do you guys want me to rev the car up? Because guess what? I'm gonna do it. Now, like I said, it's not the most powerful car in the world. It's no supercar, it's no muscle car, but it's a car, all right? This is a luxury car. Now, to those of you that don't know, the Toyota Avalon is supposed to be, and it is, Toyota's luxury car. It's a big brother of the Toyota Camry. So basically, the Toyota Avalon is the big brother of the Toyota Camry. And it's more expensive than the Toyota Camry because it's more luxurious. All right, so now that I've talked about the interior of this car, about this car having a leather steering wheel, which feels pretty nice for me because I'm inside the car. One thing that I love about this car is that it has a sunroof up top. This is the sunroof. Let me show you guys the sunroof. Now, like I said, this car that I'm sitting in right now is a 2001 luxury car. This is a luxury car. This is a Toyota Avalon, and the Toyota Avalon is Toyota's luxury sedan, luxury saloon. Now let me show you guys some cool party tricks that this Toyota Avalon has. With the sunroof, specifically. It can do this. This is a power sunroof, which means, well, I don't have to explain to you guys what a power sunroof is, because I'm sure you know what a power sunroof is. Now I want to see another trick that the sunroof has. It can tilt up like this. See that? Alright, so now that I've showed you the sunroof, excuse me, it might be worth showing you guys the sunroof one more time. Oh yeah, I forgot. I turned off the engine. Never mind. So, one thing that I love about this car is that the leather steering wheel, leather dashboard, this stuff right here feels like leather. And the leather paddle shifter, which I don't think a leather paddle shifter, like a leather gear shifter I should say, in a car doesn't sound that uncommon. I don't think it's that uncommon these days.
but I think it was a luxury back then in 2001 for a car like this to have a leather gear shifter. And one thing that this car doesn't have, which would make this car a whole lot more luxurious, was that if it had leather seats. But this car does not have leather seats, which kind of annoys me, given to the fact that this car is supposed to be a luxury car, and this car doesn't have leather seats. Kind of drives me a little crazy. But at least it has seats. This car actually has cloth seats. But I gotta say, it's still a luxury car, because a lot of luxury cars have leather seats, but this car doesn't. Which is one thing that could have made it better if the car had leather seats. Alright, so moving on to another feature that this car has, and I'm sure that this feature is not that uncommon. It's not really uncommon, but the car has powered seats. Let's check this out. So it slides back and forth, it reclines back and forth. And you recline the chair all the way back and relax. You recline the chair all the way back and relax, and you probably look up at the sunroof, through the sunroof, and see how nice the sky is from up top. Yeah, so that's one luxury feature, and the sunroof is another luxury feature, a power sunroof. And I'll show you guys another feature that this car has that a lot of other cars don't, and that is massage seats for the front seats. I'm not sure if you guys can hear this, but just take a listen. Just take a good listen. So that sound is the lumbar seats. The lumbar seats. And I should show you guys from up close what the lumbar seats do and what they look like from up close. Now see this? And what it says right here is that the car has side airbags, which makes the car extra safe. Now, these are the powered seats. It moves back, pull this way, moves forward, and pull this, goes back, push it this way, it goes forward. Now this right here, what I was talking about earlier, are the massage seats or AKA the lumbar seats. Whatever you call them, I like to call them massage seats or something. See, can you hear that sound? Those are lumbar seats or the massage seats. Take a look, come up even close.
Yeah, so you can hear the whole mechanism working, the whole lumbar, or should I say massage seats working. So that's one cool feature. Another cool feature that I like as massage seats, or should I say lumbar seats, plus the power seats, which I see as a luxury feature in this luxury car. Okay, now the downside is that with all those luxuries in the driver's seat that I just showed you before, it only has the power seat, and the massage seat is only for the driver's seat and not for the passenger seat. So everything in the passenger seat is manual, which is another thing that could have been better in this car. Now I'll show you what I mean. So, for example, if I want to move forward in this chair, what I have to do is pull the latch underneath the seat and do this. And if I want to go back, I have to pull this latch, which I'm not sure if you guys can see the latch, but pull it, then move backwards and forwards. It's all a manual in the passenger seat, but it's powered in the driver's seat. So the passenger and the passengers get nothing. So if I want to move back, if I want to recline the chair, I have to pull something here. What? Wrong one. What? This one. So I have to pull this thing right here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it on the camera. You have to pull it, and you will hear a sound. Just go all the way back. Oh yeah, and I just realized something. The passenger seat also has the lumbar seats that the driver has, except the only thing is that the lumbar seats and the passenger seat is manual. So I'm not sure if that's that much different from the driver's seat, but I'll show you what I mean. So I sit back in my chair in the passenger seat and I just pull something. I don't want to break my watch. I can hardly feel it, but I can feel it way more. I can feel the lumbar mechanism working way better in the driver's seat than in the passenger seat. So, in case you guys didn't catch what I was talking about, I'll show you guys from up close. Okay guys, now one thing that I noticed is that it has its own floor mats in this car, which is what I love. Another thing that I love about this car. And move on to what I don't really like about this car is that the driver gets everything in automatic. The driver gets everything powered. But the passenger seat, on the other hand, has to do it manually. I'm not sure if you can see that, but this car has lumbar support seats. Yes, lumbar support seats. I'm not sure if you can see that very clearly, but that's what it says. I wasn't joking when I told you this car has massage seats, or just, hold on, it's lumbar seats. I wasn't joking when I said this car has lumbar support seats. And in order to work these lumbar support seats in the passenger seat is that you have to pull this thing up. So I'm not sure if you can see this 100%, but here's how it goes. Yeah, so that's how you work the powered seats. I mean, the lumbar support seats. Now, how you work this thing is that with this, you pull it, you sit back in the chair, you lean back and you pull this at the same time, then fall back. Or if you want to sit up, just sit up and it goes forwards along with you. Now moving on to this latch. If you want to go backwards, you have to pull this. You have to sit on the seat and pull it at the same time. Push, push, pull, like that. So then pull it again and push it back, like that. So everything is a manual in the passenger seat, which I don't find luxurious. But at least it has everything powered in the driver's seat, which I find luxurious, especially if I'm the driver. Okay, so let me talk to you guys about another thing that I love about this car. Let me just close the sunroof. Yeah, so another thing that I love about this car is that this car has wood trim. Yes, wood trim. And I'll show you guys what the wood trim in this car looks like. Okay, so basically, here's the wood trim that I'm talking about. So this car does have wood trim. Now, I'm not sure if this is real wood trim or not, but it's nice wood trim regardless. And it has wood trim on the panels. And it has the speakers down right here. Same deal on the other side. So this is a wood trim right here. And it has it looks like, I'm not a wood expert, but it has like a oak wood theme here. An oak wood trim theme here. Same deal down here. And here's another thing that I love about this car. Are you ready for this? It has a charging port, which you can use to put something in and charge your cell phone or whatever. And it has like, I'm not sure what this thing is, probably an ashtray or something, but I think it kind of looks cool to me. And another thing that I like about this car is that there's a center console right here. This center console, you open the center console like this. And this center console is made of leather. Well, it feels like leather to me. But as a viewer, you can see the leather, but you can't feel the leather. And the center console opens like this for the driver to see. I love the way this stuff feels right here. Then I open it up down there. It's pretty spacious down there. You can fit some stuff down there. You can fit a drink. You can fit anything. You can fit food down there. Whatever you can think of, that can fit in this center console. And another thing that I like about this car is that the cup holders are, where are the cup holders? I know where they are. Just push this and it reveals. So what you gotta do is you gotta push it like this, and the cup holders slowly come out. Yeah, it's very nice and very luxurious to me. Okay, we're in the back seat of my car. Now, I have to say, I feel very comfortable in the back seat of this car. Now, basically, I like to highlight another thing that I like about this car, and that this car has, see these? Now these are lights. These are side lights, and the same deal on the other side. Over there, see that? It turns on. Yeah. And I gotta say, it's quite spacious for me back here, because I'm a big guy. I'm 6 foot 4 inches tall, and I have about this much headroom. It may not be a lot, but it makes a difference. At least I could fit in the back of my own car. And if I push the driver's seat back a little bit, I have this much leg room. It may not be a whole lot, but it's something. And let me show you guys what I mean from up close. What I mean by leg room and headroom. Okay guys, now let me show you guys exactly what I mean by leg room and headroom. Now I'm going to demonstrate it by sitting inside. So like I said, it's spacious back here. It's spacious back here. And this car is a saloon, a sedan. And it's very spacious back here. And I have a little bit more headroom on this side as opposed to the other side. But if I push the the passenger seat forward a little bit, I'll have even more leg room. And at the moment, I have this much leg room. And sitting and lying down like this, I got this much headroom. This much headroom. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's about 1 inch or 2 inches, which may not be a lot, but it's something. Now, I'm not sure what to talk about next. Maybe I should talk more about this car. Specifically the inside of this car. And maybe a little bit more after that. Okay, so I'm inside the back of my car. And one thing that I find cool in this car is that, this thing right here. It looks cool to me. I can look outside like this. Looking cool, looking like a boss. Just looking at inside, being driven around. It'll look even way cool if you're being driven around by a chauffeur. I should say that. And I find this pretty cool. And I showed you this before. That. And And you gotta see the nighttime vibes of this car. And I'll show you the nighttime vibes of this car in a few moments. Okay, so now that you've seen the nighttime vibes of this car that I'm sitting in right now, which is my car, let's move on to some other things that I like about this car. One thing that I like about this car right off the bat is that it has armrests at the back. Yes, armrest. You can rest your arm here, or you can just fold it back like this. Then you have room for an extra passenger to sit. This is a 5-seater vehicle. This car is a 5-seater. And you can easily fit 3 to 5 big people in this car, including myself, because I'm a big, tall guy. So the thing that I really like about this car is that it has the center armrest, which you can do by opening it like this. See, it looks kind of cool to me. And it has the cup holders. You can put drinks back here. I'm not sure if these cup holders are big enough for drinks, but they should be, because they're cup holders. Yeah, I find that pretty cool, that it has an armrest plus the cup holders. Now, I don't really think that sounds uncommon, especially in luxury cars, but it's kind of a surprise to me that some cars, like economy cars, and this ain't no economy car, this is a luxury car. This car the modern economy cars don't have armrests. Some of them, and some of them don't have cup holders at the back, like these. And one other thing that I like about this car is that it has the wood trim down here at the back seat. And you can just pull it. And then close it. Then it has cloth, which doesn't sound that luxurious to me, but it's cloth. So I'm gonna have to deal with it. It's pretty nice. Feels nice. And another thing that I like is down there. I'll show you guys a better perspective of what I'm talking about. So down here, this is what I'm talking about. So you just reach down there. It feels nice and soft. It really, really feels smooth, and it really, really feels luxurious to me. You can just rub your hand against it, and I still get that nice feeling. Yeah, so this right here is another thing that I like about this car. Okay, now, let me talk about one more thing. One more thing that I like about this car. And that one thing is fuel economy, aka gas mileage. Now, I was doing some research on my car, and I found out that my car does 9.3 liters per 100 kilometers, which translates to 30 miles per gallon. Yes, 30. 30. Now, this car does about 30 miles per gallon, which means this car is not a gas guzzler, but it's closer to a gas sipper. Yes, a gas sipper. And a gas sipper is the exact opposite of a gas guzzler, which guzzles gas. This car does 30 miles per gallon. 30 miles per gallon. And a 33 miles per gallon is considered good gas mileage for a car. But this car that I'm sitting in right now does 30 miles per gallon, which is pretty good gas mileage to me and sounds like good gas mileage to me. So I'm not gonna complain about fuel economy, but my car is almost out of gas, so I'm gonna have to fill it up, which which kind of means that if I drive my car to the nearest gas station, I believe it will be able to take me to the gas station. And the closest gas station to my house is not very far away from my house. It's a matter of 2 to 3 minutes drive from my house, and that's it. That's how far I have to travel to the nearest gas station from my house. So, yeah. The car has pretty decent fuel economy, 30 miles per gallon. And that, to me, sounds like decent fuel economy. Now, let's talk about my thought process. It's time to talk about my whole thought process of how I was able to afford this car and the cars I was considering before I eventually got to this car. So I advise you to, number one, grab a seatbelt. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Or should I say, enjoy the story, because you guys are going to be in for a real story. Trust me. Now let's begin the whole story. Now, like I mentioned before in this episode, I bought this car on March the 22nd, 2020. So I had this car for a few months. Now let's go back in history, and go back to my whole thought process and before I bought this car. Now let's get started. Now, first, the story begins at a place where I was working before. I'm not sure if I should name the place I was working, but I'm going to mention the place I was working at. So it started with me working at KFC. I got my second job at KFC as a cook, and I was in 12th grade at the time, in senior high school. And the thing is, everybody, a number of people, a percentage of my friends who are my age had a car to drive them to school and back or wherever they want. But I didn't have a car at the time. I did not have a car at the time. This was back in 2019. And here's how this whole thing started. How the whole thing started was that as soon as I got my second job at KFC, my goal was to save up enough money for a car. Yes, enough money for a car. And I was planning to work as hard as I possibly could to get a chance of affording and being able to buy my first car. And I achieved it today. I achieved it so far, right now. But let's go back in time and go from back then, where I was back then, and we'll travel and we'll go for a drive or ride to where I am right now. Now, first, I got a job at KFC. This is back in 2019, late 2019. And my goal was to save up for a car. And then I started working. Then I started saving money like crazy. And then the next challenge was I had to do some brainstorming. I had to brainstorm what type of car I wanted for my first car. And number one is the most obvious one. It has to be big enough for me to fit in. It has to be big enough to carry me, which is a no-brainer. As you all know, I'm a big, tall guy. I'm 6 foot 4 inches tall, and I weigh between 220 to 230 pounds. So it had to be large enough for me to fit inside. It had to be nice, and I wanted it to be luxurious. I was looking for a luxury car. Yes, a luxury car. That was nice enough, and cool enough. So let's begin. And I'm going to show you pictures of the cars that I was considering on screen for you guys so that you people can get what I'm trying to say here. Now, first, when I was on my way home from work, I was looking on a place online on my phone called Gumtree. Yes, Gumtree. So Gumtree is a place where you sell stuff. You put a list in online. So Gumtree is an app where you can sell stuff and buy stuff. So, except it's for Australia, because I live in Canberra, Australia, and that's the thing that we use to buy and sell stuff online. One of the things that we use. So in America or Canada, we call it Craigslist. So I was scrolling through Gumtree looking for a car that appealed to me. And the first car I spotted a car that I really wanted to get. And this is way before I even thought about buying this car. Way before I knew this car was on sale. So I found a car on Gumtree, and it was a 2010 Jeep Grand Cherokee. A 2010 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And I'll show you guys a picture of the car that I'm talking about on screen so that you guys can see the picture. Yeah, so it was a 2010 Jeep Grand Cherokee, which I found online. And judging by the price, it looked like it was in very, very good shape. It was in very good shape. And I liked the look of it. And I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to save up to buy that car. Because I can mentally see myself driving around in a Jeep. Yeah? Driving around in the Jeep. So I put my mind to that car until I kept digging, kept scrolling through Gumtree, and found some other cars. And those other cars were German cars. Yes, German cars. And the first German car that I spotted that caught my attention, that caught my eye, was one of them was an Audi. It was a 2008 Audi A6 TFI or TSI. I'll show you guys on screen. But judging by the look of that car, I was thinking, you know what? I'm gonna save up for that car. Well, maybe I wasn't thinking about that I didn't think about that instantly, but I was thinking, maybe I'll get either a Jeep Grand Cherokee or a 2008 Audi A6 TF or TSI, whatever you call it. So I looked at that car and I was thinking, damn, that's a luxury car. I want to save up and buy that car. And then I found other cars. I found a BMW 3 Series from the early 2000s. And it costed about $5,000 Australian. Oh yeah. So whenever I say dollars, I mean Australian dollars, because I live in Australia right now. So if you're living in America, for example, you can just get a calculator and convert that to US dollars. Yeah. So back to the story. Now, when I found the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the Jeep costed $6,000. $6,000. And the Audi A6 costed $8,000. And I was thinking, which one am I going to get? Am I going to get the Audi A6 or the Jeep? And I kept on thinking. Then the other day, I was at work again, and I felt like I need a car. I want a car, and I need a car so I can drive myself around to school and drive myself around to work, stuff like that, and be more independent. Because as a man like me, I wanted more independence, and buying a car and owning a car was another step towards independence. So I let some time pass by, and I told him, and I knew at the back of my mind that I wanted a luxury car for my first car. I wanted the car to be luxurious. So I kept on scrolling through Gumtree. Then I found cars that are like Mitsubishis, BMWs, then Audis. Then I kept on scrolling for different examples. And then till I came across a particular car, and it was I can't remember the specific name of the car, but it was a Mercedes. It was a Mercedes from the 2000s. And I saw a Mercedes convertible, which I really liked, which really caught my eye. And I was thinking, I kept my options as open as I possibly could. And I was thinking, maybe I'll either get the Jeep, the Audi, or the Mercedes convertible. And then I kept on. So a few days went past. I let some time pass by, like a few days, a few months, or a few weeks, or a few months, until I jumped on a website called Car Sales. I decided to expand my options and keep my options open as I possibly could. And then I found a 2007 Audi A4 convertible, or let's say cabriolet, which is the Audi convertible. And I looked at that car and I was like, I'm going to look so baller in that car. I'm going to look so baller in that car, in that Audi convertible. But I forgot to mention a car before I had the Audi convertible in mind. So when I saw that Audi A6, which was a sedan, I saw another Audi. And that was the Audi A3 hatchback. The Audi A3 hatchback, and it was selling for $6,000. And I was thinking, and I was asking my buddies at work when I was working at KFC, and I asked one buddy at work, which was specifically a guy who was younger than me, and I asked him, which car do you reckon looks nicer, the Audi A6 or the Audi A3 Ambition? He looked at it. The Audi A6 was gray, and the Audi hatchback was red. And he said that the Audi the Audi A3 hatchback looked nicer, and I decided, you know what? I'm gonna save up for that car. And it was like, damn, you gotta save up for that car? I'm just paraphrasing the story. So I decided I'm gonna either get, if I was gonna get an Audi, I'm either going to get the Audi A6 or the Audi A3 hatchback. So moving on to the story, let's fast forward a little bit. Let's step on the gas. Let's go a little bit faster to where I am now. So now back to the Audi convertible that I was talking about. This Audi convertible was not in the state that I was in. This Audi convertible was out of state. I had to travel 150 miles, so 250 kilometers, just to get to see the guy that had the Audi, just to pick up the Audi. And if I was going to buy the Audi, I was going to have to drive on 250 kilometers to get the Audi. But all the other cars I was talking about earlier were in Canberra. So this led to me making a decision, a big decision. And this came to a point where I was at church, and this is getting closer to the part where someone introduced me to a car, which is the car that I'm sitting in right now. And I was at church on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, whatever the time of day it was. And somebody said that, someone told me, hey Jerry, we have we're selling a car, and it's a Toyota Avalon. At first I was thinking, that doesn't sound like a classy name to me. But it was specifically it was a woman. I'm not gonna name any names, but it was a woman specifically. And this woman was an older woman. And she and her husband were selling two cars. One of them was the one that she mentioned to me, and the other one I saw when I went to her house. So when she said, as soon as she said to me we're selling an Avalon, I was thinking, I just heard of the name. I didn't seem too keen at first, so I decided to keep my mind focused on the cars that I wanted to save up for, the cars that I wanted to get, which is either the Audi convertible, the Audi A6, or the other cars that I mentioned earlier. So my thought process kept on going. I kept on brainstorming what cars I wanted to get. And and I had to make a final decision. Now, a few weeks, or let's just say a few months, or maybe just a few weeks went by. And this got a lot closer to the end of 2019, getting closer to the end of 2019. And the woman earlier that told me about the car that she was selling, she and her husband was selling. I saw the car in person, and I thought, I didn't feel that keen at first, but as soon as I saw the car in person, I felt a little bit more keen. I said to her, I thought about it. So I thought about either getting the car that I'm sitting in right now, the Toyota Avalon, and there was another car that she and her husband was selling. It was the Avalon or the Corolla. Now the Corolla was probably as old as this car, or maybe a little bit older, or a little bit newer. I'm not sure. But just going a little bit faster here, I decided I'm gonna think about buying the Avalon. So I let some time pass by, which was a few weeks or a few months go by. And I was thinking, and I kept on thinking about expanding my thought process, expanding my brainstorming. And it kept on going to the point where my next door neighbor had a BMW X5 from the early 2000s. And I saw that car from a distance, and I was thinking, maybe I'll buy either the BMW X5, the Audi convertible, A4 convertible from 2007, or the other cars that I was mentioning earlier. So this came to a point where I had to make a final decision. And that moment kept on getting closer and closer. So what happened was that I was thinking about buying that BMW X5, but he wasn't home, so I decided to leave it alone. And I'm moving a little bit closer to the end of 2000, or maybe just rewinding just a little bit. I was at a dinner party, a Ghanaian dinner party with my family friends, and I asked them what do they think. And I was asking them, should I buy? And I showed them the cars that I was thinking about buying. I was thinking about buying an Audi A3 convertible, the A6, the A4 sedan, the A4 sedan from the early 2000s, from the 2000s, I should say. And then I showed them some cheaper cars, like a Toyota or like a Mitsubishi or something. And they recommended that I was safer off buying a Toyota. Because they told me that, it may not be as thrilling or as exciting as an Audi, but trust us. So I kept that in mind. So I let a few weeks pass by. This was getting closer to the end of 2019. So getting closer to the end of 2019, I was at church, and after church activity at church, and I was talking to a gentleman who was not in my age bracket, who was a lot older, a lot older and wiser, and and I showed him the cars that I was thinking about buying, I was asking what type of cars does he recommend for a first car. And he suggested that I get a car that's reliable. And he told me his experience, the experience that he had with unreliable cars. He had one Range Rover which was unreliable for him. So he told me the story of how unreliable it was, and I'm not gonna name any names, so just to protect their identities. So I asked him what kind of cars does he recommend for a first car, because I was buying my first car. I needed some wisdom. I needed some advice on buying a first car. And first he told me the most important thing is that you get a car that's reliable. And that was kind of a slap in the face for me, because a lot of the cars that I was thinking about were German luxury cars, because I was looking for a luxury car. And that's when I seriously started thinking even more about buying the car that I'm sitting in right now. So at first, after having a conversation with him, I was talking to my mom, and I talked to her about the cars I was thinking about buying, making a decision on buying. I showed her at first she told me that a church family friend, or a church family member was thinking about selling me a Toyota Avalon, which is the car that I'm sitting in right now. And at first, she knew about the car that was being sold to me. So then I decided to show her the other cars I was thinking about. I showed her that picture of the Audi convertible, which was in great condition on the outside, and it was on sale for $7,500. So I showed her that, and I told her what I was talking to that man about in church, about the cars that I was going to get. And I told her that I should get a car that's reliable. And I knew that I had to make a smart decision. I was going to have to make a final decision between the 2007 Audi A4 convertible, or the 2001 Toyota Avalon. So I did some serious thinking after hearing what I was told earlier by that man. And I decided, and talking to my friends at work, and but then I left at around the end of 2019, or pretty much after the beginning of 2020. I decided to leave KFC because I was losing money in income. So I decided I had to get another job. So I got another job, and the money I saved from KFC, I saved that money and left it aside, and got another job, and kept saving money until I was able to save, enough money. So I was at work, and I was working at a construction company as an apprentice. And I was working there from February 2000 the end of January 2020 till somewhere around March or April, somewhere around March, or maybe somewhere around April. That's when I left the apprenticeship. And from the money that I earned from KFC, from the freedom upstairs, And a few months I worked at this apprenticeship, which I decided to leave that apprenticeship because I didn't like it. I was not enjoying it at all. So before I lost the apprenticeship, before I lost my job, I bought this car. And hold up, let me just rewind just a little bit. So I was working, and I was showing my buddies a picture of the Audi A4 convertible that I was thinking about buying versus this car that I'm sitting in right now. And they were warning me about, oh, the Audi is expensive to fix, blah, blah, blah. And to me, I didn't really agree with them 100%, but it kind of made sense to me because Audis are expensive cars. And if they're expensive to buy, then they're expensive to fix. So I decided to leave. I decided to buy and to hit fast forward and to hit the accelerator and to go a little bit and to go faster. I decided to buy the 2001 Toyota Avalon. And the reason why I didn't buy the 2007 Audi A4 convertible was because I was scared that the Audi A4 was going to give me major, or let's just say reliability issues. Because I was afraid of reliability issues because I didn't want to pay an arm and a leg to fix a first car. So I decided to buy this car, and so far I don't regret buying this car at all. It's been reliable. I haven't used it very much since I lost my job. So, and the car is almost out of fuel. But besides that, I'm pretty happy with this purchase. I'm pretty happy with the car that I have right now, and I can't wait to drive it and really, really drive it on the road soon, because I really want to take you guys for a drive in my car, but because my car is almost out of fuel, I don't want to risk it. So, yeah, so that's my whole brainstorming process, and I really hope you enjoy the story. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's pretty much my brainstorming and thought process. Yeah. So that's pretty much the story. And that's basically leads me to where I am now. Okay, guys, so that's pretty much all I got to share you guys today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Ballin' with Jerry. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this whole tour of my car, my first car. And I pretty much introduced this car to the show, Ballin' with Jerry. And I really hope you enjoyed this episode of me touring you around on my first car. And that's basically it. And I gotta say, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more episodes of Ballin' with Jerry. Oh yeah, before I end this episode, I also forgot to mention, I mentioned the real name of this car, of course, but me personally, I like to name this car. Hold up. Now, I decided to name this car the Big J-Mobile. Yes, the Big J-Mobile. Yeah, so that's what I decided to name this car as. Yeah, like I said earlier, I will name this car the Big J-Mobile. Yes, so yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say to you guys on this episode. And stay tuned for more episodes of Ballin' with Jerry. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more episodes.